This video provides an introduction to identity management for the U.S. Academic Research Fleet for the 2020 engagement with the NSF Cyber Infrastructure Center of Excellence pilot. In this presentation, I'll describe fundamental identity management concepts and terminology. Authentication is the process of verifying that a person is who they say that they are. In order to do this, a user must provide a proof that they are who they claim to be. This proof can be something that the user knows, like a password, something they possess, like a key, or something unique about the user, like a fingerprint. This proof is referred to as a credential. Multi-factor authentication requires more than one type of credential to verify the identity of a user. Although I will primarily discuss examples of user authentication in this video, you should also know that computers frequently authenticate to one another as well. Authorization is the process of granting an identity access to a specific resource. Resources may include files, databases, web applications, wireless internet access, or any asset which an entity may wish to selectively grant access to. Access control lists are used to define which identities have what types of access and to what resources. In order to reduce administrative overhead, access permissions are often granted to groups of identities rather than specific identities. Identities can then be added to or removed from the respective groups in order to grant access to resources. In order for authentication to work, you need both a place to store identity information and a way to validate credentials for identities. Some of the common protocols and storage methods are shown in the table to the right. A service which is trusted to validate user credentials and provide information about identities is known as an identity provider, or IDP. An important capability for any identity management solution is the ability to audit authentication events. In the event of a security breach, responders need the ability to determine who accessed what resource and when the access occurred in order to respond appropriately to the incident. This includes logon events, password changes, account expirations, permission changes, and more. Because security incidents often involve multiple assets owned by an organization, centralized logging services and aggregators such as Syslog, Splunk, or Logstash provide dramatic improvements to an organization's ability to effectively respond to a security incident. Shared identities, such as shared accounts, role accounts, or pre-shared keys, like Wi-Fi passwords, where many users share a single credential, should be avoided where practical. In the event of a security breach, shared accounts make it difficult to investigate the source of unauthorized access and identify which assets may have been affected. A better solution is for each user to have a unique identity and to assign identities access to resources as needed. As of this recording, 43 of 58 UNOLS member institutions are members of the InCommon Federation. Federation member institutions can authenticate credentials for their own user identities and provide confirmation for other member institutions that the users are who they claim to be. Because Federation members trust one another to authenticate credentials, identities from different institutions can be used by other Federation members to authorize these identities access to resources which they own.